So many of you may have noticed this, that blacks, racially blacks abroad, some of them believe that we think that we're the only blacks globally. That is not the case. The case is this: you're paying attention to us. We center ourselves, ethnically black Americans, and you center us too. You're always talking about us. That is why you think we think we're the only blacks globally on the on in this world. We do not think that. We don't think that just because we center ourselves. Right? We don't think that. You're always paying attention to what we are doing on American soil, right? It is what it is. We're Americans. The spotlight's on America. Good or bad, whatever. If I've not said so, Social Nurse here. Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Listen, I don't know why British blacks, Black Brits, Nigerian Brits, Ghanaian Brits, whatever they call themselves over there, African Brits, I do not know why they are, many of them, so concerned with delineation here on the U.S. soil, even if it delineates as a whole globally. It is what it is. It does not affect you. It doesn't. What we call ourselves, ethnically black Americans, those of us that descend from enslaved Africans that were brought to America, right? Whatever your case is here, blacks in America were legally enslaved, be it they were here already or brought here. That just is what it is. No offense to anyone, but black Brits and even some continental black Africans that's sitting over there on the continent are concerned with what we call ourselves. We don't, it is what it is. You're still going to be whatever you are, regardless of what we label ourselves. We've had many labels here in this country: Negro, colored, black, Afro-American, African-American. And now there are other labels that are coming up. And eventually, I think there will be a meeting of the minds. We have to do what we have to do because we are here in America, and there is an undermining of our group. It is what it is, right? But with that said, on the screen you see hands of an African braider, right? Now, I want to cover this. Some people think we don't know that there are several nations on the continent of Africa. We know that. Just because we might use Africans in general, I've seen continental Africans speak of Africa as a whole, right? They could be, let me just throw a nation up, from the Dominican, from what is that? The Republic of Congo, or whatever African nation. And they will say, we Africans, or Africans, our culture. They'll speak broadly as well, right? So, another thing, the title of some of the African braiding shops here in America, we call them the Africans or African braiding shops because it's in the title of the name of the shop. It will be something like Peggy's African Braiding Shop. Pam's African Braiding Shop, right? We know this. They include the words African in their name, in their naming convention, right? It rarely has. I've not seen something like the Cameroonian braiding shop. No, it's always African. So that's why we call it the African braiding shop or African braids or the Africans. That is what they call themselves in the naming scheme of their shop. Now to these hands and the spiteful braiders. What sometimes you're experiencing is harsh, spiteful African braiding hands, right? That's what you're experiencing. Some of these women are not doing well, and they're actually trying to provide customer service, right? Listen, Donnie On Time is a popular TikToker. Many of you know who he is, and I'll try to remember to put the link to his video in the description box. But he talks, he has a lot of good information over there on TikTok. He talked about that many of these Africans are upset with the Black American boycott of their shops because they fear further investigation, right? And it makes sense. Typically, there's some black man from Africa that's over these shops with all these women, right? And we don't know what, is all involved. But it is possible, as Donnie, as he, talked about in his video. And he had an article up there from Essence, right? But he talked about the fact that some of these women are working under duress and bad circumstances, that it's forced labor, that the hours are really long and hard, that it's almost a form of labor trafficking. It is believable because I've seen on different media how Africans undermine other Africans. We know that Africans invented slavery and they're all for it, many of them, historically and presently. I've seen the stories where Africans are in countries like Britain. They've migrated there and they bring someone else from Africa and they force them to be like laborers against their will, just ridiculous working circumstances, right? That they force their own people into. So it is very believable that a lot of these African women are working under duress, stress, and forced labor, possibly. I don't think this is an outrageous speculation, right? With that said, listen, it is what it is. What we are doing here in the United States, it's because we understand the construction and the social political aspects of our nation. If you're in Africa somewhere and you're in Britain somewhere, you should not be offended by what we call ourselves. You can remain whatever you want to call yourselves. We don't really care. We're past that point. But ethnically Black Americans, it's been 60 years or more since the civil rights. We're past this. We're all one thing. We see that. It just kind of doesn't work broadly, right? It is for it is what it is. God for us all, social nurse.